Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to also share, like, and comment.
Commitment in terms of funding has been coming to Mopani. In terms of suppliers and contractors, we are current. One issue that I want to talk about on Mopani is some politicians who are trying to incite workers. I want to by any particular investor that would come in the mine. So our discussions were centered on not only suppliers and contractors and mine development, but also the human resource that will be involved in developing the Mopani asset. So I want to give assurance to the workers that government took keen interest in that agreement to make sure that the plight of the workers are taken care of. But I also want to say this, that Mopani was an asset like KCM, which was going down. It was dying. We were almost, getting cries from contractors, suppliers, workers every day were not being paid. People were almost losing jobs. And we had to save it by getting a strategic equity partner who has actually come with what we agreed with in terms of the investment that should be put in the mine. Now, I think a day or 2 days ago, I got information that there were negotiations between the union and the Mopani management over workers' salaries and conditions of service. I want to say this to our miners, that please, the mandate to negotiate your conditions of service lies with the labor unions, but overseen by the Ministry of Labor. Us as a line ministry, we are also concerned, because if you, the workers, are not motivated, then productivity in that mine will be affected. And that is why we want to make sure that you, as our miners, are highly motivated. But what will make you be highly motivated is a productive and profitable mine. What will give any conditions of service that are better in any particular arrangement or jurisdiction is profitability of that entity, productivity of that entity. So our plea is that, can we make sure that this Mopani mine that we have salvaged, this Mopani mine that we have, gotten out of the doldrums, can begin to produce and make profits and keep its workers well, keep its contractors well, keep its surroundings well, pays proper taxes to the government. And for it to do this, we have to allow this company to flourish. That is not to say we will leave out the plight of workers, because for it to be productive, there has to be a motivated labor, and that is what is supposed to happen. So those politicians who are making comments and inciting workers, no, they go to strike, go and do all sorts of things, they don't mean well. What they want is to disturb the positivity that has come to the copper belt because of what Mopani has brought to the table. I have heard one leader writing to say, no, I think it's from Uka, it's Mr. Slavwe or something, who is saying that no, actually the people that are coming into Mopani are not even bringing any money. They want to use the same money that they'll be making out of Mopani to pay. That's Slavwe. You are more intelligent than that. Every one of us knows that when IRH came into Mopani, the first thing they did, even before the final documents were signed, was that they brought in $80 million, which was used as initial payment to clear suppliers and contractors. Another 50 million was brought. Up to now, $210 million has come into Mopani as cash, not money which they have used to mine, because he is claiming that they have used money, they will be using money that they will be selling copper from Mopani to pay for the investment into Mopani. Even when you want to have political, you are misinformed, and yet you are claiming you want to run the country. Apart from the $210 million that has come into Mopani, Glencore has been paid around $400 million cash from IRH, not from the money generated within Mopani. So how can somebody claim that? And then there is also another lady who has just gone to town to want to dent the image of President Hakainde Hichilema by saying, you know, the friends of HH have bought Mopani. Please stop the lies. If you want to be relevant, do constructive criticism. Go to the Copper Belt today and tell them that we stop this investment. You see how you'll be skinned alive by the people of the Copper Belt. The Mopani deal is an exciting legal deal, and don't send threats to would-be investors in this country that you are going to grab back Mopani. You're not going to do that, because Zambians will not let you. You sold Mopani at the time you were a minister. You gave us a deal of 10% Zambia, 90% Glencore. It's you, Madam Nawapi, and your team who did the Mopani transaction at the time, which was 90% to 10%. Who is better? Who has fixed it to now 49-51% shareholding structure for the Zambian people? The money has kept flowing. So stop the lies. There is no friend of HH who has bought Mopani. All the things you are talking about, Jubilee, you don't understand what you are talking about. Maybe you need to be checked. So I want to implore and also tell our workers that please be rest assured that government is with you in these matters. Don't listen to politicians who just want to disturb the flow. This mine is going to make money, and when it makes money, your conditions of service will even be much better than they are. So I would want to assure our workers, our contractors. In fact, I have said that very soon I'll be meeting all the contractors, all the suppliers on the Copper Belt, those that employ our people, to look at what conditions of service they are giving. I have already interacted with my colleague from the Ministry of Labor that we are going to do that meeting, including the Minister of Commerce, so that we harmonize things. That as we are doing, these investments in the mining sector, our people are carried along and also helped. I also want to talk about KCM. I know that there have been cries from our people, especially in Chilabombo and Chingola, that from the time we announced, nothing has happened. No. This is the position, and I want you members of the press to take this very clearly to our people. Where we stand right now, if you've been following the news, I think 3 weeks ago, a notice was done in the papers where it was announced that a meeting of creditors will be held in 30 days. Now, that is a process, it's a provision within the Act, because you realize that KCM was put on liquidation. Again, some of these things we are going through are a consequence of wrong decisions that were made. So that process of 30-day period where the creditors meeting will be held, government or Vedanta themselves have no control. It is required, it is a requirement in the Act that after the creditors meeting or announcement is made, we have to allow 30 days to elapse, because if we don't do that, any of the creditors can take us to court over that again, that we did not allow the required time to elapse. So after 30 days, which should be, I think, in the next 1 week or 10 days, the 30 days elapses. Now the creditors meeting will be held. All the creditors will be in one place, where they will be told, this is how the payments will be structured for you, the suppliers, contractors, and all other creditors. And then money will start flowing to the creditors. After which, there will now be board reinstatement for KCM.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JCOO.
So where we stand now, we are tied within the 30 days. That is a legal requirement for the creditors meeting to be held. Oko tuafuma kutali, we are nearing the end of this process. I know that our miners have been complaining, communities around KCM are complaining, and I understand. But this is beyond our power and control as government, because this legal requirement of 30 days from the time the creditor's notice was put in the papers, 30 days must elapse, as I've explained, and we are waiting for that time to elapse. Then the creditors meeting will be assembled, and beyond that, it's all systems go. That is for KCM. Again, there are people trying to, sometimes you start wondering, you see people that are even trying to say they want to run this country. No, Vedanta is trying to sell its shares, they have no money. Now here I'll be very blunt, members of the press. Any business that has shareholders can go to shareholders to raise money, or can use their shares, as long as it is within the confines of the law, within the confines of the requirements of the Zambian law. If you as a Zambian, you have a business and you are shareholders with the shareholder name X, you can even take 5% of your shares and say, I'm floating these shares. If you have money, bring money, invest in my company. There's nothing wrong with that. If First Quantum is trying to do it, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it is within the confines of the law. Every business does it. So for somebody to attack that, it's a lack of understanding of how business is run. That's why in business there are what are known as shareholder loans. There are what are called as its equity can even come from shareholders themselves. Like what has happened to Mopani. What has happened to Mopani, the money that is coming into Mopani is coming in as equity from shareholders. It's not coming in as debt. But if they want, for example, the money that they've paid to Glencore, it's like Mopani has borrowed to its shareholders and paid out Glencore so that they get extricated from that Glencore debt. It happens in business. So if Vedanta is raising money through their shares within the confines of the law, there's nothing wrong with that. For us, what we want is a functional mine, a productive mine. We want KCM to be productive. And that is why we have said, let's do the right thing. Government is not just sitting by and watching. We are following these issues closely, and we are making sure that whatever transaction anybody goes into around these assets where we have interests, we are watching, and we have to make sure that it is done within the confines of the law. It is also done according to the implementation agreement, the shareholders agreement, and whatever surrounds that transaction. That is to make sure that our interests are protected. So I thought I needed to make this clear on the KCM matter. Of course, you members of the press, you realized 2 weeks ago we were commissioning the watering of Shaft 28 in Luanshya, which is a huge milestone for a mine that has been sleeping for the past 23 years. Because of the policy environment, Shaft 28 is being dewatered. It's a process. What that has done is to bring hope to the people of Luanshya and the people of Zambia. Now, I want to say something and put something into context. What this country is doing, or what this administration is doing, is now putting in place investment projects and programs that must set this country on a path of growth. That is how you do things. You unlock. You remember the famous word of His Excellency the President is that let's unlock this economy. And that is what we are doing. Because if these things remained locked up, we are not going to see any fruits. So, pali inonshita. If you tulechita ifwe, ngabena Zambia na ngaba government is now to invest in the economy so that it begins bearing fruit. What does this mean to you, the common person on the street, the Zambian out there? This means like not to be ala nomba. My investments are to register. We are now planting these seeds so that the country is set on a path of growth. You and I know that the mining sector is the backbone of this economy. For us to see growth, for us to see benefit, we have to let the systems run. Mopani must fire in its cylinder, KCM in its cylinder, Shaft 28 in its cylinder, all of them firing up, then the economy will see growth. You and I know that for the first time, the Kitwe City Council has received a bullet payment. Again, this is for people like Mr. Slavwe to understand. Because he's been saying, you know, there is no money that has even come into Mopani. Kitwe City Council, you members of the press, you know, that is received 87 million kwacha. Right now, the Kitwe City Council has started paying its retirees who've been owed money for quite a long time. Then somebody saying, you know, money has come into Mopani. That money was paid out of the $210 million I've told you that has come into Mopani. Now, even production of any mine, this is how it works, and that's why I'm saying we are putting the country on a path of growth. Limbindande mchibe mbabasila vuna bantu babubala onfo. Mine yefyo ibomba. Nga twaeba titwala leta mu $1 billion. Teku ileta kopene yonse. The way it works is like this. I explain to people who don't understand so that our Zambian people cannot be misled by people who are purporting to want to be leaders. Any mine program has got what is called a technical program. Remember, during the KCM days, Mopani negotiations, I was telling you, there is what is known as a technical due diligence, a financial due diligence. So you marry the two. When you do the technical due diligence, it will tell you that, for example, in the first quarter, you need to work on ABCD. The financial due diligence will tell you that working on ABCD will require you to bring 2 million kwacha. That is an example I'm giving. What does that entail? It entails that you, the investor, that money must be made available. That is why you see money coming in tranches. Whether it is Mopani, it is KCM, it is First Quantum, that's how money in a mine comes. It is according to what is required at that particular time. That is how a mine works. So these monies that are coming in tranches, it's because they are meant for the particular demand of the technical and the financial due diligence that was done. Even on suppliers and contractors, it's because the financial due diligence said Mopani is owing so much in terms of contractors and suppliers. Suppliers which include the Kitwe City Council, which has now received 87 million kwacha out of that.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JCool.
That's how it works. So if no money has come into Mopani which was cash strapped, so stop lying to the people. There is money that is flowing into Mopani. Even KCM, for KCM to do even that creditors meeting, it's because money will be made available to pay the creditors. Otherwise, if they don't do it, we've told you there is a deemed offer in the agreement. So, this government has set this country on a path of growth. This is how you run things. I have said time and again, we may go through pain. Why? Because tuarirekelech sonso muibala diasape bala ibala di tuat Zambia taliale di muma bale iba mufenga fidabaranda tubomba muibala adia muibala. Nothing was happening. Mines were closing. What we have done ourselves is to reignite growth in the mining sector. Some fruits, you see them today. Others are futuristic. For example, we are dewatering shaft 28. That water is 170 million cubic liters. They have to be dewatered over a period of time. In parallel, they will be developing the mine. In fact, the dewatering of shaft 28 will also give rise to dewater shaft 14 and shaft 18 in Luanshi. It will have that effect. But it's a process that will run. Some fruits may be seen now because there will be suppliers and contractors around the activity. A few people will be employed at that particular moment, but progressively, the dewatering of shaft 28 will lead to 3,000 plus jobs being created. And it's a process that will run. So it's a growth path that will set our country on. It will require us to be a little patient, because even for Mopani, as the money is flowing, development is happening. When you go to Mopani today, I had promised that I'll take you journalists one day. We'll do a trip where you are going to look at how equipment is coming into Mopani. We'll also do a trip where you look at how they are dewatering, that process, and when KCM starts, we'll take you on those trips to go and appreciate. Now, I'll say this very bluntly and openly, that we are paying a certain price because people went to sleep. People were not doing their job. People were sleeping on their jobs. Otherwise, by now, we could have had a very vibrant Mopani, KCM, and things would have been different. But I want to tell you that now we have set the country on the path of growth. The other thing that we are doing in parallel is that this country hasn't been doing exploration and mapping. We have finished all the procurement processes for flying over Zambia to map the country, and His Excellency the President will be announcing the successful program and when it will start, including the company that has been picked to do this. So you can see that all this is setting the country on a trajectory of growth. This is how you do things. So I also want to mention that I took a trip, I think 2 days ago, to Japan, where we had a Japan seminar on Zambia. They had to call a seminar on Zambia. That's the interest they have about this country. And I think you heard from the news what we did there by clearing every doubt and negativity that would-be investors there have on Zambia. We made very big companies whose GDP, who are sitting on an asset portfolio in trillions of dollars, like Sumitomo, who are ready to come to this country. And the government there, as was announced on that news item, have made available $1.5 billion for this country. in terms of Japanese companies that will come and invest in this country. Particularly for Zambia, that's how exciting it is in the mining space. Apart from that, following our meetings at the mining endeavor and the policy stability that this government has set apart, we have now serious discussions with Ivanhoe. If you don't know Ivanhoe are the owners of the Kamola Kakua, one of the biggest mines around the Congo, in the Congo. They are coming here. We've been sitting with them and discussing. Rio Tinto is also serious about coming into Zambia. We have those discussions going on, including a company called Fortescue sitting on a very huge portfolio of assets. Now, all these things that we are talking about are setting this country on a growth path, because that is what we need to do. As long as we do not grow this economy, we won't see benefits. The economy must grow. And how does it grow? Investment into the economy. The other day, the president was saying, I have an ambition to double the GDP. Somebody started joking about it. That this country, how do you laugh when somebody says such an important goal for our country? That I want to double the GDP. Yes. Economies that are doing well, even from where we are coming from, they are sitting in trillions of dollars in terms of GDP. You can see with the livelihoods of their people, with the infrastructure that is in their countries. It's because they had set their countries on a disciplined growth path, and this is what we are doing. So I thought I needed to interact with you and clear all the misgivings and the lies that have been going on, that we are selling mines to ourselves, that we are giving them away, that there will be no benefit to the Zambians our way. The benefit is there. Go and ask that retiree that was working for Kitwe City Council whether they've been paid or not. They've been waiting for their money for a long time. Because of that growth path, their monies have been paid. Go and ask people in Mufulira Council, all their debts. Mopani right now, as we stand, is current in terms of all the debts that they owe different creditors. This is what we need to achieve. This is what we wanted to achieve. So for our workers at Mopani, government is with you. And please don't listen to politicians who don't even understand what they are talking about, trying to incite you. No. You have held on to this asset called Mopani for a long time. Let's run with it, and government is with you. And I know even as we sit right now, the unions are still in negotiations with the Mopani management. I think I've talked enough. I would allow the members of the press to interact with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Colleagues. We are free to ask the Minister a question now. This is an interactive process today. So I'll take the first two sets and others will follow. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Honorable Minister.
Morning.
My name is Kachinga from Chidawongo Media. My question is in regards to the local content SI that you had made the announcement a few months ago that you will be signing. We just want to know how far that 25 million watch and below contracts to Zambians is. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Matthew from Hotel.
Yes, Matthew.
Yes, mine is just to find out how you are moving in to harmonize the issue of electricity for these miners, and also the issue of the trapped miners. We were told that those that are in Sensei were told that after the rains you could resume the retrieving of these miners. So I just want to get an update on that.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Manga for 2024. I just want to know the time frame you have set for yourselves on which to water the mine washer.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JQ.
Okay, quickly, I'll answer them very quickly because these are short answers, they are not complicated. Local content from Kachinga, the SI, where are we? Okay, so then that law is now sitting with the Ministry of Justice, because you know that whenever government is doing anything, the Ministry of Justice through the Attorney General chambers always clears anything before we do an illegal thing. I want to give an example of the Mopani where people have been saying it's illegal, you know, we always do that. So even the SI is with Ministry of Justice. Immediately it's cleared, we are going to issue it. Only to assure our contractors and Zambian businessmen that this thing, we are not going backwards. It's coming. We'll give a threshold of you know, what level of business should be reserved for Zambians. It's important that we do that. Then from Matthew, yes, we are in discussions with ZESCO. In fact, we've been in discussions with them. What we are saying is the electricity that is available to us as a nation, priority must be given to productive sectors so that the economy doesn't collapse. And you know, mining is Zambia's backbone, 17% of GDP. So we are always in discussion to make sure that the mining sector is not stopped. You realize we have a 3 million ton target for copper. And for us to do that, all these mines must be firing in all cylinders. So the negotiations are very, very active with ZESCO to make sure that our mining companies are not starved of the much needed you know, power to do their activities. In terms of Mr. Mainga, time to the water shaft 28. That is a program for now the company. Of course, they have given us from the first year, after they do the watering for 1 year, then we'll have indicators of how far it will take or how long it will take. But let me also say that what they will do is that they are not going to wait for the whole mine to be dewatered before they start working on the mine. You know that mining is done in such a way that you do it in levels. There is this level, that level, that level. So the plan and the program is that if, for example, they dewater level 1, as an example, as they are dewatering level 2, they will start constructing or reconstructing whatever is supposed to be reconstructed in readiness for production. So they will be doing parallel things. As they dewater this level, that is a program they gave us. Then they'll start working it out, whether it is doing pump chambers or whatever they are supposed to do at that particular level. So I think within a year, they'll be able to tell us the projection. But it's projected to go maybe 2-3 years. It's a lot of water, 170 million cubic liters. And we want to actually give kudos to China Copper Mines. They have made pumps. Those pumps you saw us, you know, commissioning that day were actually tailor-made for that program. They had to do a research, a feasibility to check what sort of pumping will be needed. Then they went back and manufactured those pumps specifically for that program. And that's why as Zambia we are saying we also need to go to get there, where our manufacturing base can begin to grow. And it can only grow when the economy begins to grow. When these mining companies have activities, it means now there will be companies forming around them for purposes of supporting the sector. So that is basically that. On the trapped miners, which Matthew asked as well, I just came back, so I hope that report is on my desk to check whether we can begin to go back and begin that process again.
Is government willing?
Is government what?
Willing to go back.
How can it not be willing? It's our people trapped. Government has a responsibility. government has a responsibility to its citizens. Whether people are trapped on a private mine or a public mine, it's a responsibility of government to make sure that the right things are done. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Shaban. Okay, I will allow you to go first. I think I saw your hand first. Please. Thank you.
Let's give the lady, because ladies, yeah.
Yes. Ladies are special.
Indeed.
Honorable Minister, thank you so much. Prudence from Down on TV. I've got quite a number of questions. I hope I'll be able to ask them on time.
Please ask
As many
two
as possible.
of the most important, because it's one question per person,
Honorable
but because you are a lady, I'll allow you two burning of the many that you have.
Let me try.
Yeah.
The one you talked about, Mopani, I'm just following most of the comments that are coming on our page now
Yeah.
from those watching on the Copper Belt.
Yeah.
And their cry is that, Honorable Minister, it's not about anything but poor condition of service of training at Mopani. Employees won't eat council money or contractors.
Now you're fishing from social media.
No, those
So-
are similar questions. So
Okay.
their concern is about the poor work condition. And I've also seen comments where people are saying we are getting money as little as 5,000, 6,000. Honestly, with this economy, what can you do with that? So that's part of the question. Then, Honorable Minister, another question. Just give us a brief about the Sojilite mine. I think this thing has protracted for a long time. The last update we had, I know you said you were going to, they had finalized, the ministry had finalized, the conditions in which, we were supposed to do the mining, but we've not yet heard anything about the way forward on that particular
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Honorable Minister, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My question, Honorable Minister, is in line with the dewatering of Shaft Road 8 in Wansha. Having done that one, are we likely to see also a trigger on Baruba Mine, which is also in Wansha and was recently closed a year or two? Also in your constituents, I remember there were explorations to open a new mine in Chindawongwe. How far is that? Then finally in Mufulira, remember they closed Mukambo Mine?
Yes.
Yeah, there's an investor that moved in, I think, 2022 before I left the Copper Belt. Just want to get an update. Has that mine been reopened? They may be finally, this was just a social issue. I was on the Copper Belt last week and Chingola ran out of fuel. Could that be connected to the money that is flowing that not economy?
Yes, who is next?
Please, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister.
Good afternoon, thank you.
My name is Patrick Ellis from Crystal Ball Media.
Patrick.
Yes, Patrick Ellis. I
Okay.
wanted to find out how far with the Kansenseri gold mine.
Oh yeah, very good.
Thank you so much.
So, yes, the concern is, you know the way life works. You cannot really downplay a retiree at Kitwe Council who has been paid after waiting for their money maybe for 10 years. I do understand the cry of the miner, but I also do understand the cry of the contractor and the supplier. And that very retiree at Kitwe Council who benefited from the 87 million, go and tell them that no, don't get that money. So every component of the effect of Mopani is very important. That is why I'm saying even the workers' conditions are being worked on. When you are climbing a mountain, you start with one step. But make sure you are moving. What is important, I think, is to move. So, we are very, very aware as government on the poor conditions of service. But I want to say this and bite the bullet, that it may not happen in one bite. The conditions will be improved. That is for sure. That is non-negotiable. Even in our negotiating over Mopani, that was being discussed. What we needed to do first, Mwevena Zambia, is to bring back the mine back to life. That was the most important aspect.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JQ.
I wanted to give an example, which I think that I won't do it. Maybe on a political rally, I can do it. We needed to bring this dead person back to life before you can feed off of them. And we have done that step. The issue of, if you are a government, about to take abantu bo tuleteeka kuba fwaire emikalire, if I were to go in the local language. So how do we do it? Is by growing the economy, bringing investment in different sectors of the economy, one of which is mining. So when this mine begins to breathe, now it must begin to feed people around it. And the first point of contact are the employees who are supposed to be given better conditions. That is why, even just after commissioning the mine, because there is care for employees, already negotiations are going on with the unions. That shows intention, isn't it? Because if it's somebody who doesn't care, they could have said, no, Lolele first to Wombeko, not sana. We have invested this money, so give us a year, then we'll start looking at workers' conditions of service. Because then we will have produced. But they are saying, no, immediately, let discussions begin to improve workers' conditions of service. For me, that is a positive thing. Immediately, just after commissioning, unions and management sat over Mopani conditions of service. Meaning, the investor who is us, 49% holders of Mopani as government, through ZCCMIH, and also our investor an equity of 51%, we have already begun these discussions to say we look at workers' plight. If we are not given what we are expecting, at least we are given something, we again begin to negotiate. Ifo kopala tulanda tiaka piawali. Ifo tulanda kopala. Nga kwa piako 20% nga ileka piako KCM. Na nkumo pani kwa piako whatever percent. Get that one but continue negotiating. That's how life is. So, we are very mindful of the plight of employees. That's why even for KCM, immediately it opens, they will touch on the workers' plight. 20% was agreed. Why? It's because employees are a critical component. So, Mweba Chilemba, we start downplay the impact of the 87 million. Kuma pensioner years back Kitwe Council because of what has happened in Mopani. There are also Zambians who've been waiting when this government will take care of them. Inana lika hapo naba fiashi balelo lela pension. You don't know what it has meant to that person who was waiting. In councils, people can wait for as long as 10 years. But now they have been cleared and paid. They have closure to the time they spent time in the mine. Ba supplier na ba contractor bali ambiri okubapoka ama company nokubesalira nokuyikata ama bank accounts ya. But now they've been paid and they are off the hook. You can't downplay that. They are also human beings. Equally, employees are human beings and the negotiations are ongoing with the unions as we are talking now. So conditions of service are being addressed. Then Prudence, you also asked a very scanty question on Sojilite. I want to educate you what has happened. Mining, it's either you do it unconventionally and lose out, or do it conventionally and gain more. So before you start mining anything, you need to know, I don't want to use the word mapping, you need to know the extent of what you want to mine. I hope members of the press, you are getting me. How do you know what you are sitting on. You map it. You say, oh, ya pitoku, ya pitaku, ya pitana, ya pitana oku, ya pitana oku, ya pitana oku. The reason we do that in mining is because I could be mining here. Next to me, there is another deposit. But maybe na posa pamaloba, I throw what is called overburden on where I'm supposed to mine. So when I map, I now do the science of mining, meaning that I won't lose out. I'll be mining correctly with a correct mining method without throwing what I should have gotten, probably as sugilite. So that is the process that we started with when that was discovered. You map. So right now, as I'm talking to you, they are in the field doing the mapping and the drilling. These things, they don't take one day. It's a process. So you have to allow the science of mining. That is why we always say we shouldn't be wasting time arguing. We should quickly invest into these things so that we even manage the time that it takes. Like he was asking about how long it will take to dewater. If it were within my power and I'm a magician, I could have said within 1 day, let's dewater the mine. But the process itself won't allow it. It will tell you that for this water to finish, you need 1 year or you need 2 years. And that you can't avoid. It's unavoidable. You can tinker with technology like they did. Maybe the normal pumps were telling them, for example, for shaft 28, that is going to take you 5 years. But if you make a pump, that 5 may be reduced to 2. That's how it works. Even so, for the sugilite that you are talking about, my friend, it works out like that. Then, Mr. Shalala, Baluba, exploration in Chirilabombwe and Mokambo. It's out. The question that you asked, very important, but it's similar to what she asked about where are we at in terms of sugilite, because now exploration must give you a defined resource, like what has happened in Mingomba mine, where they had to go with advanced technology. They quickly defined their resource. So it is also important for any mining activity to embrace technology so that you quickly define your resource and go into mining. Some of the things that delay people to go into mining, maybe the policy environment is unstable, or the tax regime cannot make that mine profitable, so they can't go into mining. Now that the environment has been made stable and we are seeing a lot of investment coming, even these mines that you referred to will surely come into productivity. We'll be announcing a mine in Mumbwa called Kitumba, which was put on ice for a long time. They were fighting in court. The policy environment was not working. Now they have agreed more of it to keep flowing, even as these mines are paying their suppliers and the contractors. Patrick, you asked about Kasenseli mine. Thank you very much for that question. So you remember Kasenseli mine had some shareholder called the Kampoko. Now that has been bought off by government. We are finalizing the shareholders agreement now, and also what will accrue to the Chiwika chiefdom in terms of the community. And those documents are currently sitting with Ministry of Justice. So immediately they are cleared, we'll be able to make the announcement. I want more questions.
Yes, sir.
I have 2 questions. The status with Mopani.
Tax holidays.
Yes. Then the second one, I know I've answered, you have made a statement on the legality of the issue of Mopani, but up to now there are still politicians and some lawyers who have continued to say that Mopani is an illegal deal. Is government ready to be taken to court even now, because we have had a precedent where people wait for governments to leave office before they are challenged or taken to the courts of law.
Thank you very much.
Ready to be challenged.
Thank you very much.
Any further questions for you?
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JCool.
Okay, thank you so much for those questions, Roland. Number one, there is no tax that is unique to any particular mine. The tax regime in Zambia applies to everyone. There is no special taxation for Mopani or KCM or anybody. There is just a tax regime that we as government have put in place, which applies to all mining companies. So there is nothing special, for Mopani, special for Mwana, no, nothing like that. Everything else we are doing applies to everybody. So there is nothing special. Then in terms of the legality, I think the Attorney General made this issue very clear. And as you asked me, that is government ready to go to be taken to court? More than ready. Because we know that we were above board in this deal. There is nothing illegal about it. And like you have suggested, Roland, those that may want to challenge this deal in court are free to do it. Because there is nothing illegal about it. We did something legal. It is good for the Zambian people, for the copper belt. And I think it's how systems go. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Minister, we have people that are following us on its bid to buy 80% in Mopani Mine from Mopani Copper.
Okay.
And then another one is saying, is asking rather, where is Rio Tinto and Ivanhoe? Where do they plan to invest?
Okay. Okay, number one, for Lubambe, I think I'm meeting the Lubambe management tomorrow. We have a scheduled meeting to hear how far the discussions around the transaction on Lubambe has gone. It's important that question was asked. I actually needed to talk about it. So we have a meeting tomorrow. They are giving me a briefing on how far they've gone, and then we'll be able to update the nation. In terms of Ivanhoe, I mentioned Ivanhoe, Rio Tinto. We'll give you the specifics of the deals. We don't want to preempt discussions when they are ongoing. I haven't said we've brought finality, but I want to say that they've been in the country and we are discussing. Yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Colleagues from the media, we end our briefing here. Unless you want to ask, I'm sure everyone in Zambia, you want to go and have something. Sorry, sir?
There's a what?
Final question. My name is Shambo Munga from Zambia Daily Mail.
Yes, what Daily Mail? What are you saying?
Yes, I just want to see maybe some sort of sum up with all what you've said. What would you say is the state of our mines? Are they struggling? In what state are they?
No, it's for all to see that the mining sector is on the upswing. There is no, we are going high. We have set our country, like I said, on a growth path. And you just watch the space. Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, JCool, and turn on the notification bell, cause I'm gonna see you in the next video.